Special meeting to order uh, on this Cinco de Mayo, beginning at 5:30 here at Building 400. Uh, Let's begin with an invocation and pledges to allegiance. Oh, thank you, Roger. Roll call, please. Bring up the screen, please. Okay, I see it now. We have all seven in attendance. Now let us begin with our invocation and pledges to allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with gratitude for the opportunity to serve and to lead. We lift up these re-elected board members, asking you that you bless them with wisdom and clarity as they continue their work for our schools and community. As we enter this time of training, may it be more than just information, may it be preparation. Give them all open minds to learn and a sense of unity as they move forward together in service. Guide their decisions, strengthening their commitment, and remind them of the students and families who depend upon their leadership. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Roger. Brandon, anyone sign up for public comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Therefore, we'll go to item 4, consider approval of canvass votes and declare the winners of the May 2nd, 2026 school board election.
Yes, sir. I would like to present to you two documents you have on your desk there in front of you. One of the documents shows the overall results from the election. The second document, which is required by law to show you by precincts. And it's my great honor to announce the winner of the board election in the canvass, the 2026 school board election, to Mr. James Gonzalez and Mr. Jose Diaz.
We need a motion.
I move that we approve the canvass of the votes and declare the winners to be Jose Diaz and James Gonzalez.
We have a motion and a second. Board members, please vote now. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, James and Jose. Okay. We'll go right on to administering the oath of office of newly elected officials. James and Jose, please step down. You gonna have up front, Mona?
Have him just stand.
Oh, she's gonna do it from right there? Okay, just please stand in your place.
Okay. We will now administer the oath of office to the newly elected trustees, Jose Diaz and James Gonzalez. Please raise your right hand and respond, "I do." By the power vested in me as notary public servant for the great state of Texas, I hereby administer the oath to the newly elected Southwest ISD Board of Trustees. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully execute the duties of the office of trustee for the Southwest Independent School District for the state of Texas, and will, to the best of your ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state? And do you furthermore solemnly swear that you have not directly nor indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed nor promised to contribute any money or valuable thing, or promised any public office or employment as a reward for the giving or withholding a vote at the election at which you were elected, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
They are now. board members again. Okay. At this time, we're going to go into the election of board officers to serve from May 2026 through May 2027. We'll begin with president, so I will turn it over to the superintendent.
Okay, thank you. Now, at this time, I now open the floor for nominations for the office of board president. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Sylvester Vasquez to be board president.
At this time, I'd like to ask, all those in favor say yay.
Or push yay.
Oh, sorry, we went too fast. Oh, sorry. Are there any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, do we have a motion and a second?
I already did. Sylvester's now the president. And
Okay,
now does he take over now, or you do all?
Did
of
we
them?
already vote?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, okay.
You don't see it. She
No.
doesn't have it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, now I'd like to open the floor for the nominations of the office of vice president.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Dalton for vice president.
We have one motion and a second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we do have a motion and a second for the office of vice president, Ida Sadolkin. Board members, vote now. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's unanimous. Congratulations, Ida.
Thank you.
I will now open the floor for nominations of secretary.
I'd like to nominate Florinda Bernal for secretary.
I have a motion, a second. Board, are there any other motions? Hearing none, having a motion and a second for Florinda Bernal. Board members, vote now. Congratulations, Flo. Okay, we will now open nominations for the position of assistant secretary.
I nominate James Sullivan for Assistant Secretary.
We have one motion and a second. Are there any others? Hearing none, we do have a motion for assistant secretary, James Sullivan. Board members, please vote now. Congratulations, James. Okay. Wow, that was nice and smooth. We'll take, does it say we have to start our trading at 6 so we can go straight into it?
But
We're
I
gonna
would
take
like a break.
5-minute break? 5-minute break, then we start. Okay, so 5:45, we'll start trading. Is that good for everybody?
First sworn in, congratulations. So this is your annual required Team of 8 training. And so there are a couple of things that we're going to touch on tonight that I hope will help you as a board reflect on your work and hopefully in the end, allow you to work more effectively as a team. So we're going to start off tonight by reviewing the framework for the school board development. We're going to review roles and responsibilities, and then we're going to take a deeper dive into the Southwest ISD operating procedures for the board. And then lastly, we're going to review the board self-assessment that the board completed over the weekend. So I wanted to start off by sharing a video with you. And so before I do that, though, I'd like for you to think about this concept of we're a family. So a lot of times you will hear districts, successful organizations, maybe even just all different groups. They may refer to themselves as we're a family, like we're a family here at, whatever organization it is. So with that in mind, what I'd like for you to do is just somewhere on a piece of paper you have, maybe when you think of a family, and then you think of a championship team, think about some of the things that these two may have in common, a family and a championship team, and some things some places that they differ, that they, they're really not alike in all cases. So I'm going to give you a chance just to do that on your own. Just jot it down, just maybe a minute at the most, and then we're going to talk about that a little bit more. I'm sorry. Is it something you can do on here?
Oh, okay. I can lower it down.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Is that better? A little bit better, maybe? Yeah.
Because I can lower it more. I just need it for the recording.
You can lower it more. They really don't need it for me and just for the video, I guess, yeah. Okay, anybody want to share out a way that a family and a championship team might be similar, or a way that they may differ?
I put that the way they differ is that family, you don't get rid of the weakest link.
Okay.
Keep them. And championship teams, you tend to only pick the best performer.
Yeah, I would agree with both of those. Anybody else?
I put great communication, trustworthy, dedicated to each other.
Okay, so in both cases, they have great communication, they're trustworthy, both in a family and on a championship team. Thank you, Daniel.
But faith and respect to one another,
Okay,
both family and championship.
yeah.
And then as far as differences, individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So, falls back to respect.
sure. All goes back to respect.
I put respect as well. What you said there.
Uh-huh.
The bond that you have.
Respect and cohesiveness. Good. Okay, so I want to challenge some of our thinking when we think about we're a family and we're all in an organization and all moving towards the same goal. So as you watch this video, let's look for where these two might clash and where they might overlap.
And I get it, you know. I mean, I get what they mean, what sports teams and even some businesses use that. Athletic directors, welcome to the XYZ family, right? They're saying we care about each other here, and I think that's pretty important. I mean, I think what they're saying when they use the word family is, you know, we're a caring organization. We care about people. We care about every member of our organization. Very, very commendable view. But it hits me wrong, the word family. So to me, family is unconditional. Unconditional. Here's what it turns out, that on high performance teams, it's the opposite of unconditional. It's highly conditional. Highly, highly conditional. This is how we do things. This is what we believe in. This is how we operate. Contribute to that by contributing in the middle, or this is the wrong organization for you. That's how high-performance teams are organized. Now, so whether you're picking them, selecting who's on your team, or whether you're inheriting a team, you got to get to that point at some point. You got to get to this. This is not unconditional here, right? And I don't know that using words like family help us in that regard. It doesn't like offend me or anything. It just, it hits my sensibilities wrong. Because are we that loose with things? Don't we understand that high-performance organizations are completely unconditional? I mean, I can't work at Disney. Why? I have a mustache. Visible tattoo, I'm out. Right? I mean, there's the financier, really amazing guy, Warren Buffett. Not Jimmy Buffett. Warren Buffett. Huh? Financier. He says, I won't work with anybody I don't like, trust, and admire. Are those conditions? Damn right they're conditions. Anywhere you find successful people and successful organizations, you don't find, come with us, bring all your stuff with us. You can say, my bad here, and we're all okay. Just be yourself. No, it's not true. Highly conditional. Highly conditional.
All right, thank you. Okay, so any comments about that? When you think about it in terms of the family being conditional, right? Excuse me, unconditional. I have that in the opposite place. I am so sorry. The family has that unconditional love, right? Like Ida was saying, you in an organization, a highly effective organization, you might want to take out that weak link, right? You don't do that in your family, do you? No, you don't. So when you think of in terms of your work as a board, do you think of your work being conditional, highly conditional, or is it unconditional? And I think what a lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight shows that your work is very conditional, right? Your roles and responsibilities are spelled out in statute. So it's not Dr. Ball's idea. It's not Commissioner Morath's idea. It is clearly defined in statute, the role of the board and the role of the superintendent. Your board policy, very, very conditional. Your board operating procedures, that is defining what you all expect to see and do as you work together as a board. What you can expect from each other. And then also your code of ethics defines. So it's not opportunities, like he said, to say, oh, my bad. You know, that's not really how I think you want to operate as a board here at Southwest ISD. So let's look a little bit now. In every Team of 8 training has a requirement that we need to cover. Some of statute, the roles and responsibilities as a reminder. So we're going to take a shallow dive here, not a deep dive. But when you look here at Texas Administrative Code, school districts, 61, subchapter A, it talks about that the State Board of Education is charged to adopt a framework for school board development to be used as structuring the continuing education for school board members. So again, this is something that is defined by statute as to how the board should be functioning. There is a lot of research that's behind that. And so there are 5 components of the framework for school board development. And this is information that was covered for you when you went through your orientation to the code training, when you first became a board member, and then also in the ISO, the Evaluating and Improving Student Outcomes training that you do every other year. So we have these 5 components: vision and goals, systems and processes, progress and accountability, advocacy, engagement, and then synergy and teamwork. And that's why the synergy and teamwork piece, that's why we're here this evening, right? That's what the Team of 8 training is all about. And so when these 5 components are all focused on within the school board's work, research tells us that that's when districts are most likely to see an improvement in student outcomes. And that is why we're here, right? An improvement in student outcomes. So the framework for school board development, it's very lengthy, and we're not going to touch on all the details of it this evening. But another piece I just wanted to point out to you is it has a preamble, right? Like many important documents do. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but in the second paragraph, just that second sentence is in red, and it says, to effectively meet the challenges of public education, school boards and superintendents must function together as a governance leadership team. So that is critically important that this team, it doesn't mean that you have to agree on everything all the time, but it means when you come together and make a decision as a team of 8, and that decision's been made, then the district moves forward, the board moves forward with that decision. And you're going to see in a minute, I loved looking at the results of your board self-assessment in that area because it was a perfect score that you feel strongly that you're doing that work. Okay, so in effective teams, a team of 8, the trustees govern the district with the advice and then in the partnership of the superintendent. So even though I know Dr. Ball has a long history here in Southwest ISD, as board members, you are the members of this team of 8 that really represent the community and are helping to communicate that to your superintendent. The superintendent, on the other hand, is the expert in education. And so in this case, she manages the district with the oversight of the board. And so it's this nice little dance, right, that the team of 8, the superintendent and the board have to do to be able to work in partnership in order to ultimately improve student outcomes. So in Texas Education Code 11.1511, it spells out the powers and duties of the board. And since I know all of you, I think, are the newest board members you've been on for 4 years? Is that right? Okay, yes. So you're starting your 4th year. So if you're interested, we could go in and we could review all 15 of these. But I was thinking for this evening, we would not focus on just the powers and duties of the board. Texas Education Code 11.201 focuses on the duties of the superintendent, and there are 15 of those as well. But we're not going to take a deep dive there. I just wanted to remind you that those exist, and you can find them on the internet. I'm sure Dr. Ball would help you to find them as well. The last piece, also in statute, is a collaboration piece. And since this is a team of 8 training, I think this is a great time to really focus on these areas. So the trustees and the superintendent shall work together to advocate for the high achievement of all district students, to create and support connections with community organizations, provide educational leadership for the district, to establish district-wide policies, to support the professional development of the staff, and to periodically evaluate board and superintendent leadership, governance, and teamwork. And so that is one of the things that we're doing here this evening. That's why you completed the board self-assessment, to really reflect on that work in leadership, governance, and teamwork. Okay, so has anybody read this book, The Governance Core? If you ever are interested, TASB has they call it TASB Leadership. And it's like a year-long study where like kind of a cohort of board members across the state get together, and they meet 3 or 4 times a year and they visit districts. But this is a book that they read. And I always in team buildings like to share, with you that there's some resources that you might could follow up with. And so in the governance core, it talks about highly effective governance requires a well-defined governance infrastructure that provides definition, guidance, and direction. And so when you think about your board operating procedures, right, they provide definition, guidance, and direction. And so that's why we're gonna focus on those this evening as well. So your board operating procedures, they are very conditional. They're really your team's game plan for success. It ensures you're consistent on how the board handles situations. It provides guidance in dealing with complex issues. And it's always nice to have something in writing, to have some guidance before you're in the middle of that complex issue, right? And so that's why this evening, one of the reasons, it's important as you've gone through situations, if you think there's anything that you can add or change in your board operating procedures that would help things to flow a little bit more smoothly, like the next time you're in the middle of a complex situation, this is the time to take time with each other to talk about that and to see if there's an opportunity to move forward and to do something a little bit differently. It's a formalized approach to work through defined procedures. It represents the board's adoptive voice, not the individual board member. And so, not in this case with the newly elected members because you've been on the board before, but when you have a brand new member to your board, the board operating procedures is a great resource to have in place for that person. And it's a living document. So just like this evening, if we need to make some changes to it, we can. Best practice is to revisit this document once a year. However, if something were to come up in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and you felt a need to add or to edit something in this document, you always can do that. You would just want to come back to a board meeting and vote to approve those changes. So it's definitely it's at a time of stress and difficulty that norms and protocols are most important, and that's what your board operating procedures really are. So on page 2 in your board operating procedures, and I think you have a copy of that in front of you if you want, because in just a minute we'll kind of start thumbing through the document. Actually, this one is not. Do you have the board operating procedures?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I think this is just a copy of the PowerPoint. That's okay. I don't need it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and review the items that were identified by all of you as areas that you might want to revisit. So if you'll turn to page 1. Now, I don't know who said, yes, I would like to revisit this particular subtopic, subtitle on this page. So I'm going to need some some help from you all. So on page 1, where it talks about the purpose, nobody said anything about wanting to revisit that. But
hang on, it's not page 1 for us. It's this one. We have a copy, but it's this page.
Where's it at?
oh, okay, no. So that is literally the PowerPoint that you're looking at. Do y'all have a copy of your board operating procedures?
Oh, we have a synergy and teamwork.
Oh, okay. Or do they have access to their email right here? Because you emailed it, they could open it and look at, no,
We don't-
okay.
We can't do anything.
Okay.
I mean, we have them in our email.
Yeah, I think Dr. Ball or Mona emailed them to y'all at the end of last week.
We have them in our email.
Okay, so Yeah, for us to really move forward, I think you'll want to be able to see that and be able to look through that.
It looks like this. It's the email that Dr. Ball sent us on April the 30th. I forgot my phone. Oh, okay.
She's gonna get some copies right now.
Okay.
But I thought that while we're getting the copies, everybody can have a cupcake. Yes. No worries, it's okay. She's getting them real quick. But while we're waiting, I thought we could have a cupcake. What, young chocolate or vanilla? Perfect. Macaroni. What do your daughter? Would you want chocolate or vanilla? Do you want chocolate? Chocolate or vanilla? You can take them home.
Pause.
Yeah, you know, what we could do, if you'd like, Dr. Ball, is we could go ahead and fast forward to the board yes, the board self-assessment. Is that okay with everybody? And then we'll come back to this. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go through this for just a minute. Okay, so let's kind of switch gears. Instead of starting with the board operating procedures, we're going to start with the board self-assessment. So what I want you to, I'm going to start with the end in mind. We say that a lot in education. So as we are about to embark on this discussion on the board self-assessment, what I want you to think about as we're having these discussions is there anything that you would want to consider doing differently in the future? And so, you know, once a year, Dr. Ball and her team will bring to you like a district improvement plan where they identify an area, right, that they want to improve in, and then they have these things that they're doing to try and get to that goal where they want to be. And so as a board, as we go through this process, you may or may not, but you may, so I want to plant the seed now, identify an area that you're like, you know what, we want to get better in that area. Like we want to try and focus on this. And so if that's the case, then we can talk a little bit more about what that might look like after the discussion. But I like to start with that. So you're going to see this slide again in probably about an hour. Okay, so the foundational components of board synergy and teamwork, you have that paper in front of you. And so there are 5 components. So one thing I want to bring to your attention, when you think about that framework that I shared with you, there were 5 components to that framework at the beginning that all come from the State Board of Education. So board synergy and teamwork is the last one. It's the 5th one. And it's all about the board and how they work together. And so the self-assessment that you took focuses on these 5 areas that all work to board synergy and teamwork. So one component is building trust, the next resolving conflict, the 3rd demonstrating commitment, the 4th holding each other accountable, and then the 5th is focusing on results. So as you went through the survey, the Google form that you completed, you had these 5 options, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, for every answer. Almost always, often, sometimes, rarely, never, or not applicable. So what we did here, I went the wrong way, is I assigned the numerical value after you completed it, okay? Because what that allowed me to do was to create a ranking system as to how the board feels about their work. And so here I have those 5 foundational components that we just reviewed together I have them ranked from high to low. So you can see in demonstrating commitment, that is your highest area as a board collaboratively with the 5.25. The ratings on the far right, it says ratings including 3 or lower. Okay, so what I want to do is I wanted to pull out or bring attention to the 5 and the 4 are great ratings, right? I mean, it's either you are almost always doing that or you're often doing that. But the sometimes and the rarely are a little bit more of a concern. So I've never had it turn out this way, but there are 4 areas that are in your highest area. So what I like to do is start with that first one, demonstrating commitment. So if we go to that section right here. So here are the questions that you answered. Creating clarity around vision, student outcome goals, and non-negotiables. That was one of the questions you answered, and you can see them on your form. Developing an ability to learn from our mistakes, moving forward as a single voice after a decision is made by the board, aligning the organization around the community's vision and values, and then respecting the right of individual members to express their viewpoints and voting their convictions. So you can see you have the highest one was moving forward as a single voice. Remember, I talked about that earlier. So that's something that everybody that completed the form agrees on. The lower areas are 3.8 in both the last 2, aligning the organization around the community's vision and values, and then respecting the right of individual members to express their viewpoints and voting their convictions. So let's start with the most positive one. Because when you think about strengths, you also want to think about why is it happening? How do we replicate that, right? So in terms of moving forward as a single voice after a decision is made by the board, why do you think that everyone agreed on that? How do you go about that work that everybody sees it and everybody knows it's happening?
Probably because we don't post all over social media that we didn't agree with what the board decided.
Yeah,
And we create division amongst
sure.
each other.
That's a great example. So it's something that you're not doing, right? You're not out there talking about it with friends and family or putting it on social media. Oh, I think they're crazy that they did that. You know, you come out as a unified force, and that's very important that that happens. Anybody else have an idea that they want to share on that? Okay, so let's look at the bottom 2 then. Aligning the organization around the community's vision and values. So what other work could be done in that area? Aligning the organization around the community's vision and values.
We probably need a better idea of what the community's vision and values are.
Okay.
We develop our vision and our goals, but I don't know that we could improve on, because you're saying what our community's vision is.
Right.
Not ours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we represent the community, but.
So do you think then there was an opportunity to maybe involve the community the next time you were to revisit vision and values, those kinds of things? Okay. Anybody else?
What does that look like? I mean, where does this question?
Well, okay, so when I think about that, this is about demonstrating commitment, okay? So you as a board adopt goals, things that you're working towards. Do y'all have core beliefs or core values or, okay. So you adopt those things, and it's kind of like what you said, you want to make sure that it's something that it's not just the team of eight's opinion, okay? Because quite honestly, board members can come and go, superintendents can come and go. And the best things for students, when you're thinking about student outcomes, it's consistency and stability, right? It's not a lot of change. So when you get a new board member that comes on, or if you get a new superintendent that comes on board, you don't necessarily need everything to start changing, right? And so the best way to ensure that is when you're doing these types of visionary, goal setting type decisions, when you're making those and approving those as the board, that you want to ensure that your community, your students, your staff, that they're a part of that work as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know when we did our strategic planning and stuff, we did include a lot of community members in that.
Okay.
I'm curious how we can better align our organization to our community's values, what that would look like.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. So what you're saying now, so sometimes when you're reading these things at home by yourself, right, you think about one thing, but you're not thinking about other things that are happening in your district, right? So the example that you just gave, I mean, if as a district, if you've involved your community and your staff, your students, your parents in your strategic planning processes, then I would assume that what you approved to move forward with as a board is probably very aligned to your community's vision and values.
I think maybe I didn't really understand that.
Yeah.
How to rate that properly. Because I know we even have the superintendent's council that has a bunch of our high schoolers in it. And so I'm sure that is helping us to align to their vision and values, which, yeah, so I probably rated that too low.
Okay. Did anyone else have a different thought on that?
I feel it works. It can work. It works for us, I believe, because we're all on board
Mm-hmm.
as a team, because we focus on one thing, which is our students and our employees.
Right.
But in the event that, let's just say, a board member happens to come in and is just stubborn about not wanting to join the team or go to this team, that affects this grade.
Yes, it does.
So, but I mean,
And I think, though, when you have someone that's coming in, possibly new, and they have that attitude, right? They're wanting to do something differently. When they get into the seat and they become part of the process and they realize what you just shared, how much the community was involved in that, then it kind of lets them have an aha, right? And that happens a lot, I think, when new board members come on. I'm not talking about Southwest ISD. I mean, across the state of Texas, you have an idea of, oh, this should be different, or, why is this happening? And then you get into the seats and you begin to realize, oh, this is why. Oh, they did have a good reason for making that decision, right? Okay, so that's aligning the organization around the community's vision and values. So sounds like y'all realize the importance of that, and maybe there was some misunderstanding just as you initially read that question. So the next one is respecting the right of individual members to express their viewpoints and voting their convictions. So that was a 3.8.
I'm surprised that's so low.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody on the board must be feeling we don't respect their.
So I will say, and again, as people completed it, we don't know who said what, and we didn't want to know who said what. But I want you to know that this is a wonderful opportunity to not call someone out on something, but just to bring something, this is the perception. So tonight, as you possibly share ideas, I encourage everyone to be really good listeners. And then also to kind of seek to understand, like, really try and put yourself in their shoes and try and understand what is it that they're trying to say, right? So with that said, is there anyone that would want to speak to that? Respecting the right of individual members to express their viewpoints and voting their convictions. Uh-huh.
I think there's been one moment where I've had to express myself that with this group team of eight, never been cut off. Can't speak for previously stuff, but for this team of eight, I don't think it's never been cut off. Or felt like I could express whether I agree with some of those who didn't agree. I've never been able to cut it off. And I don't think there's words that I guess, for lack of better words,
Mhm.
a certain way with them against my image.
Okay. Yeah.
I think with this group, I would agree at a 3.8. That's it. Keep this thing open and enter it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I personally feel.
Good. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm very surprised myself that it came out at 3.8 as well. I don't know if everyone voted, maybe there was somebody missing.
Yeah.
Um,
And not everybody did. We only had 5, but that's okay. I mean, we'll just go with what we had.
I know I did it, and we've always been able to express our viewpoints and vote our
Mhm.
convictions without anyone, discussing it or having a problem with it at all.
Right.
We're a pretty united team.
Good. When I have to say, when I saw that, I was like, okay, it almost contradicts the 5, right? It almost contradicts it. So, I mean, it was a Google form. I don't know if somebody maybe accidentally clicked on the wrong area or.
I think maybe, I mean, on my part, but I know, like on this one, I didn't vote to make that lower.
Yeah.
But the words to me sometimes when I see stuff like.
Yeah.
Oh, is that like?
Like, what does that mean? Yes, that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted. I was like, is this what this means or is that what this means?
Yeah.
But I know I didn't mean it.
I mean, we just have to say how we feel. There have been some votes that were very difficult to do because you don't want to like be the oddball out, right? But
Right.
We have had votes where,
Mhm.
we have had votes in the past where, we will just vote no. And it'll pass yes, right?
Right.
And then after that, we're like, okay, well then.
Then you're on board.
Just, we're not going to go out and badmouth.
Yeah.
I think even if we've had something like that in the past, which I do recall, but we've always left here okay with whatever it was that everyone's viewpoint was.
Uh-huh.
We're fine with it.
It does seem like.
We respect everyone's opinion and
Right.
votes, yeah.
But this team, we have had past.
In the past word, that hasn't always happened.
That's true.
When it does seem, I mean, from your response on the moving forward, once you leave, everybody is on the same page that, you're moving forward as a single voice. But possibly, so, maybe when you're having discussions, sometimes that's an open session, sometimes it's in closed session, but, maybe to really think about being good listeners and trying to understand if someone is voting no or, on an issue that they feel heard, right? Because that's what makes a team of 8 work most effectively. You don't have to agree on everything, but people are respected. Like I heard that, when we first started talking about family and high functioning teams, they feel respected and they feel heard. And I'm going to say, this area, I started off with this one because I said it was a high one. It's not a high one. While y'all were talking just then, I added that up again, and that one would have been a 4.2 if I averaged it all together. It couldn't be a 5.25 because the highest was a 5. So I'm gonna own that one because I want to make sure we have good discussions about all the areas. But let's start with this one now, the trust, building trust. So in this area, it was focusing time and energy on agenda items, not personal issues, and maintaining a focus on positive outcomes and opportunities to collaborate as a team of 8. So those were your high areas when it comes to building trust. Again, those are great scores, 4.8. Is there anything on these areas that you can point a finger to? Why is that the case? Why did the majority of you agree? I mean, that's almost a 5 there. Focusing time and energy on agenda items, not personal issues.
Pretty much thought we would have had that at 100%.
Yeah,
We're pretty much focusing on our agenda all the time,
good.
most of the time.
And and that is, you have to make that choice, right? As individuals, you have to realize that's what's best for the team. So kudos to all of you for realizing, because let's be honest. I mean, sometimes you do have personal issues that affect family or friends, or you have areas that you're more passionate about that maybe some of your other board members are not. So it's hard to not bring up personal issues. So the fact that you're not doing that is awesome. I mean, that's great for your team that you have that kind of discipline that you can do that. The other one was maintaining a focus on positive outcomes and opportunities to collaborate. Can you think of some ways or some issues that are positive outcomes that you've chosen to focus on? Like, do you have a lot of celebrations? Do you, yeah?
We all try to make sure we go to as many things, or student-wise, event-wise, employee-wise, and focusing on the positive of the district. There's so much out there trying to bring everything down, news-wise, everything-wise. What's
Yep.
bad with school, what's bad with public ed.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to do as much as we can to help promote public ed and the best for our students. And I think every one of us are at as many things as we can.
Yeah.
We're a growing district, and it's hard to get just every single little thing.
Yeah.
We do the best we can, and I would say we do a really good job at that.
Good.
For the other districts, I talk to them, they're like, you go to how many things? And we go to conferences, and they're like, we don't go to anything in our school district. We do a lot,
Yeah.
much as we can.
That's wonderful.
I think when Daniel said the conferences and the trainings, I think we really try to take advantage of those opportunities because it kind of takes you out of this, being up here in our chairs and
Mhm.
just being like normal people and, just like
Yeah.
getting to know each other on a different level. And it allows us to, to going to those trainings. But not only that, we allow different people to go to different things, right? So
Okay.
we have some that they represent us at the legislature, some represent us here, so I think we really value each other's time and we may not all focus on the exact same thing, but then when somebody brings it back to us, we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's consider something like that. So I think we do a good job as a team.
And I like that you use that example of, going to different trainings or those kinds of things, because it's hard to build a relation, even though I know, is everybody originally from here?
We got here as soon as we could.
Yeah. It's hard to build a relationship sitting behind there in a seat, right? So in addition to all of the time that you take from your family, give to the district, coming to board meetings, it makes a difference when you take time to go to trainings together, to learn together. Sometimes I've heard boards be proud of the fact that they don't go to anything. Kind of like, well, I don't know if they're proud of it, but you just kind of shared that example. But
There's people that say they don't go to everything, but in our situation, I think attending some of these things,
Mhm.
it helps us bond
It
as a
does.
team.
Yes.
And I don't think we would have the same relationship if we didn't have those bonding times.
Yeah. I
where
agree
we
with you
laugh
completely.
together, not only learn together, but
Yeah.
just a variety of
And you
things.
just really
We
get
eat
to-
together.
How do you trust someone if you don't really know them, right? So you have to create opportunities, and it says opportunities to collaborate. You have to create opportunities to get to know each other, right? And to build that trust. Okay, so let's talk about the other one, the lowest one in this area. And if y'all want to talk about the other two, let me know. We can talk about any of them. And again, you've got that piece of paper in front of you. Do you see that? You can follow along with me on if you want to mark something and come back to something, we can do that. So the lowest one was giving one another the benefit of the doubt before arriving at a negative conclusion. Any thoughts on that one? Any ideas on why that might have been a concern to someone?
What about giving the benefit of the doubt, you mean?
Uh-huh.
I think sometimes because we represent the community, we might get a phone call from somebody and they're like, why are y'all doing this? And did you know so-and-so did this? And and then we might, I'll just speak to myself. I'm like, I don't tell the person that, but in my mind, I'm like, where are we doing that?
Yeah.
And I might get a little worked up. And so then I'll call Dr. Ball. I need to talk to you about this, right? So,
Yeah.
and I am sometimes a little quick to just think, oh, that community member is right, and then so I work this all up in my head and then I go sit down with her. She's like, no, this is what we did. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do
So,
know what you mean.
I'm not always the best at giving people the benefit of the doubt before arriving at a negative.
Yeah.
I do try to work on it, but I know sometimes if I hear something, especially from the community, I might be quick
To jump to a conclusion. Yeah. And I think that's human nature. And thank you very much for being vulnerable and sharing that. I think a lot of times we have a story that we're telling ourselves in our head, right? And then, when you get the call or someone approaches you in H-E-B or Walmart or wherever you're at, and, they catch you off guard and you're not ready for it, sometimes it's hard to figure out how to handle those situations. So I think just being aware of that and really trying to always revert back to that mindset, try and assume the best, not the worst. And, wait till you get all the information, seek to understand the situation before you do.
That's what I tell them also. I said, I might not know the answer, but I'll find out pretty quick for you.
Yeah.
I'll call somebody pretty quick.
Yeah. They call Dr. Ball. Okay. Would you like to talk about the other two on that one? Anybody?
No, but I want to say something that
Yes.
sometimes, even though we're a team of 8, some of us are passionate about different things
Yeah.
that pertain to students, the district, or what have you. And that's where some of that confusion sometimes happens too, or, those conclusions where, you're passionate about something and I'm passionate about something else. And maybe sometimes those things clash or
Yeah.
overlap or what have you. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we make it work either way.
That's good. The most important thing is acknowledging that, right?
Yeah.
Realizing that, being aware of that as you're approaching conversations. Thank you for sharing, Florida. Okay. I forgot I had these examples. So let's look at the first one, giving one another the benefit of the doubt. So you can see on the graph, I just clicked on it and copied it and pasted it. But, there was 2 people that said almost always. There was one person that said often. There was one person that said sometimes, and there's one person that said rarely. Would that be a better way of looking at it?
Yes.
Okay.
There was only 5 of us on this. Where's the other two guys? Come on, guys. Look at Daniel raise his hand over
No,
there.
because they said that for us to go back and look at it because some of them weren't recorded well or we didn't finish. I know I didn't go back, but I thought I had finished
Oh,
everything.
okay.
I thought I had
It
finished
wouldn't let me go to the other one. It said, it kept saying it's closed already.
Well, that's okay.
I don't know.
I mean, here's the
I
deal.
thought I
It
had
doesn't
finished
matter. This is all about having the conversation now, right? So that's okay. Okay, so let's go to the next section about resolving conflict. Okay, so the first two were 4.8, proactively preventing environments where back channel politics and personal attacks thrive. So let's look at that one. So in this one, 60% said almost always that you proactively prevent that. That's great. And then 40% said that happens often. So, I mean, that's a pretty good score there. I mean, there may be, some examples where for someone to mark often, but I think that's a pretty good area. And then the other one was this one, anchoring to the vision and using goals to drive all deliberations, decisions, and actions. So again, 60% of you said almost always, and 40% said often. Can you think of any examples? So again, think in terms of this is a great score. So how do we replicate that? Like, why is that happening? So we can figure out how to make that happen in other areas.
I think when we're talking about budget,
Uh-huh.
we have to really pay attention to that. Like when we're looking at ways to cut programs, when we're looking at ways to cut whatever, we have to be able to align it to our vision. So if our vision is this and we want to cut this, then we're not adhering to our vision, right?
Right.
So if we have a better idea, I mean, I couldn't tell you, I mean, I've read our vision statement lots of times. I couldn't recite it for you. But I'll just speak personally. I just have to be more aware of that
Uh-huh.
when we're making decisions in general.
Yeah.
Like, your vision is supposed to help you make
Yes.
decisions, but if we're not really looking at what our vision and our goals are, then we might be making decisions that don't align.
Yeah. Always being able to anchor back
Right.
to your goals, your vision, your mission. And I love that you were saying that about budget, because, I've heard some districts, well, if it's a budget, if it's an item you're voting on in a board meeting, they might have like, how does this connect? Like, this connects to what goal? TEA even recommends that boards look at the amount of time they're spending on different items, because the majority of your time should be spent on student outcomes. It should be talking about how are the kids doing, right? Not about buildings, not about personnel. It should be getting a better understanding of how your students are progressing and what the plan is to move them forward, and what can you do as a board to support them. And that's a big piece of it. So where can we funnel the money differently to ensure that we're meeting our goals? Okay, so the lower one here was 4.2, regularly tapping into the opinions and perspectives of all trustees and the superintendent. So if I go down to that one, it's this one right here. So you can see there were 2 people that said almost always, 2 that said often, and 1 person said sometimes. That happens sometimes. So there aren't any rarely there, so that's good. But any thoughts on this?
Is that a good thing?
I'm sorry.
Is that a good thing?
Is what a good thing? The 4.2, I think it is. I mean, I would wonder why 1 person said sometimes. If it's almost almost always or often, I wouldn't be concerned at all about that. I mean, that's a near perfect score, quite honestly, right? It's a 5 or a 4.
Like, it's pretty normal to do that, right? I mean,
Yes.
in our position.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of us, we say it a lot. We'll be like, well, what do you think? Or, what do you feel, you know? So I think we do tap into the opinions. Maybe sometimes we don't listen when they're talking, but we do ask them.
Okay, so any other ones that you would want to look at on resolving conflict? Okay, so let's go down to the next section, which is the synergy and teamwork piece. Oh, excuse me. We already did this one. This is the demonstrating commitment. Would you like, because I didn't show you on this one how it broke down to 3.8s, would y'all like to look at those two?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go down to the lining right there. So, E4. There are 5 responses on that one. Why do I have that one at 3.8?
What was that never one?
Say that again?
What was this one? Oh, never. That's the one we talked about, respecting each other.
It was C5, respecting the right of individual members to express their viewpoints and voting their convictions. So, I mean, we've already talked about this, but in terms of how that broke down. So again, it was the majority, 4 people that responded were saying it was either almost always or often.
Somebody said never.
But one person said never. So that really brought it down.
Yeah, that really brought it.
That must have been an error.
I'm sorry.
He likes purple.
Oh.
Okay, and then the other one there was, let's see, the C5. Wait, this is moving. There, the C2, developing an ability to learn from our mistakes. On that one, there was, the majority was almost always, but then one person said that happens often, and one person said it happens sometimes. Okay, so let's keep going and looking at how you hold each other accountable. So 2 perfect scores on this one. Keeping information shared during closed sessions confidential. Everybody said yes to that. I have to tell y'all, that is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. It's not easy.
James knows the combination.
But that is an amazing score on that one, I have to tell you. Okay, the second one there, ensuring discussions, actions, and commitments are completed to the agreed upon standard. Again, perfect. How do you do that? How do you make sure they're completed to the agreed upon standard? I mean, is that something else that how Dr. Ball communicates that back to you? How does that happen?
I took that to mean what we set as our goals,
Mm-hmm.
that our discussion, action, and commitments are completed to accomplish those goals. That's how I took it.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at the area, the 3.6. It's the very last one. Assessing our performance as a team to ensure the foundational components of synergy and teamwork and effective governance are part of our practice. So assessing your performance. So if we look at how you scored that one, so there were 2 that said almost always. There was 1 that said often, but there were 2 that said rarely.
I said rarely.
You said rarely?
I said rarely because We do hear at our conferences that the board, like, they do like a grade, like a self-assessment, right? I think we can improve that.
Okay.
That's why I put,
And that's what this is, right? I mean, that's what we're doing tonight. This is a board
I
self-assessment.
don't think we ever do that. I think I
We
put
don't
that.
do it in writing.
yeah, we don't have like a, well, we
Formal.
do talk about things and stuff, but I think we can do a better formal.
We don't have a formal
Assessment of it.
assessment. form,
Yeah.
right?
So one of the things that some boards do, like for example, what if you were to answer these same questions next year, this year's data would be baseline data, right? And so, the following year, it's nice to have the data points side by side. So you can see, okay, did we grow in this area? Or did we stay the same? Or do we feel like we've kind of fallen back in this area, right? There's one board that I work with that I think we've done it for 5 years now. Just comparing data. And I suggested maybe we should use a different instrument now, but they love like looking back, and then they can remember like what was going on and maybe who was on the board, and they can they like that reflective
I
piece.
would like doing that. That would be fun comparing the data.
So then we'll see you in May of 2027.
I'll be glad to come back, and then we'll
So you can
yes.
tell us.
Okay, so any other areas on this one that you would want to revisit? Any of the 4.4s? If you're interested in that, we can definitely spend some time on those.
I think sometimes it's the creating a supportive space. I think we try to do that, but I think sometimes, I think we could be better. I think we can be better at supporting decisions that we don't have the expertise to make.
Mm-hmm.
And we may not like the way it's being done, but I've been trying to work on that just myself, because I feel like if I'm holding her accountable for this, then I can't be saying, well, don't do it this way,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if we really want to be truthful and if we want her to reach this level, then we have to be able to say, okay, we trust you to get us there. And then we may not agree on the path,
Mm-hmm.
but I think, I'll just speak personally, I think I can do better
Yeah.
at that.
Anybody else want to speak to that?
I feel like I'm pretty supportive when it comes to that. I feel like we hired them to make those important
Mhm.
decisions that we don't have as much knowledge about. So I put my trust in them.
And I think that's good to hear too. I do think sometimes it's hard not to give your opinion on how to do something right. But when you think about it, the board establishes the what, right? Y'all tell her what you want to do. She figures out the how. There was a joke I heard at a board conference, and it was about how many board members does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is none. All you have to do is say the light needs to be changed. And then your superintendent and her team should go about changing it. So yeah, the board does the what, the superintendent does the how. Thank you for sharing that, both of y'all. Okay, and then what about the holding yourselves accountable to the vision, the goals? 4.4, I mean, that's when you look at that, that's, so 3 people said almost always, 2 said often, and 1 said sometimes.
I think that's kind of hard to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we have to hold ourselves accountable to all that, but it's not as easy as you can, read it, and it's like, because there's a lot of different things that happen
Yeah.
and things that involve, and And sometimes we don't understand them well, or we don't like them, which
Mhm.
is usually the case,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, let's admit it. There's probably some things you're more interested in hearing about, right? When different members of Dr. Ball's cabinet is reporting to you, and then other things you're not as engaged in. It doesn't seem. I mean, it may not be as important to you, but certainly as a board, if you're wanting information in areas, I mean, let your superintendent know. I mean, she wants to give you all the information that you want, but she also doesn't want to overwhelm you with it. Okay, so the last section is focusing on results. So if we look at the lowest area, well, let's start with the highest one. Overseeing the management of the district, ensuring the superintendent achieves the desired results while avoiding involvement in daily operations and management. So if we look at that one, it's this one right here, and it was almost a perfect score there. Almost always, and then often. And then adopting board operating procedures which encourage collaboration and respect the responsibilities of the team of 8. That one, there were 2 that said almost always, 2 that said often, 1 that said often, and 2 that said sometimes. So we're going to look at the board operating procedures here in just a minute, and maybe we'll hear a little bit more about how that could change to get more of you completely on board on that one. And then any others that y'all want to talk about on that one?
We've talked about this before, but knowing the current status of student outcome goals
Uh-huh.
And non-negotiables. Like benchmarks and mount testing on it, is that part of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's really about, being informed, and different districts do it in different ways. But giving you updates along the way, right? Reminding you, so this is our goal. This is where we were at the beginning of the year. This is where we are now. And then this is where we're headed. This is where we want to be. So like you have your House Bill 3 goals that every board is adopted. You have your early childhood literacy, math, not early childhood, it's early literacy and math, which is 3rd grade, and then your CCMR. And so, the best practice is to develop goals, not just for this year, but to develop a 5-year goal. And then the goal doesn't change, and you're working towards that goal each year. And then, so again, the board adopts the goal, and then Dr. Ball puts in place the how, right? So she's going to tell you how you're getting there, and then it's usually giving you some kind of progress updates along the way.
I think we've really come a long way in that area of not, in the past, we may have found out in May
Mm-hmm.
that we had some schools
Yeah.
that were going to be a.
And that's too late, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So we did ask Dr. Ball to kind of give us along the way some, like, how are we doing here and here? And so that's really helped us know how to best support.
Sure.
Like if we have a school that's really, really suffering, then if the administration says we need some help us there.
Mhm.
And obviously, if we know that they're struggling, then,
Yeah,
but if we don't know, we're like, well, wait a minute, so how's that going to affect the budget?
exactly.
Right? And so I
Yeah,
think we've come a long way in that area.
that's good.
I think so too, and I think that one of the things is my very first year, we stopped doing subcommittees,
Mm-hmm.
and then we started them back up. So now we have the subcommittees where 3 board members sit on the facilities, and then 3 board members sit on the instructional one.
Uh-huh.
I think that's helped a lot.
And then do the subcommittee members sometimes give updates to the board or when you're asking them to approve something?
I was actually thinking about that. Maybe you could give us some advice. I've seen at other board meetings, at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the board members asked by the board president. Like Mr. Gonzalez, would you like to give an update on anything you attended or anything that you saw and the board member says a few words? Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan, Ms. So-and-so.
Yep.
And I don't know if the board would ever like to do something like
I
that.
think we need that. There's a lot of times felt like I'm in the dark about other stuff that goes on.
And and I've seen that done at other board meetings. That's what I do for fun. I
Yeah.
watch other ones. And
That's what you do for fun.
I remember we started. doing
Jeanette,
that at
get a
one
life.
point. Something.
I do. Does anybody have any other business?
We started doing something similar.
just that we're not
Then we
used to
just didn't.
Naming any
Sure,
other-
we started doing a shout out.
Oh, yeah, that we were doing a shout out. We did something similar, yeah. We
Yeah.
were doing a shout out.
Shout out to the custodians. for the
Yeah.
important stuff. We usually don't share because usually they do a presentation.
Yeah.
I think that's where some of the bigger stuff, I would say some of the other stuff, you would definitely share.
Like some subcommittees, they'll come and do a presentation. If needed, then we'll chime in on what it is that we heard or.
Definitely curriculum stuff, as detailed as that is, I would not feel comfortable trying to explain I mean, I explained what I understood of it, but
Mm.
Dalila.
Kalila and all those folks that get up and explain those stuff in detail to us, and then, yeah.
And I guess we get a little nervous about talking about anything that's not on the agenda.
Oh,
So if we bring something up and then somebody starts,
I will
Oh,
say
well, I
though,
know
it
that.
also, because I've heard several of you talk about how you're visible, like you go to different things. And so it is also an opportunity for the community who's listening in, to hear, gosh, they're doing all of, they're here, they're there, this is what they're involved in. And so sometimes it's a nice update for the community.
we were doing it for.
And I don't know about you, Dr. Ball, you might have to put a time limit on some of these people if they talk a lot. But, like say, I mean, you don't have to give a dissertation about it, but, like give us 30 seconds, 60, just kind of, where have you been in the last month or
The North Side just put out a monthly bulletin after the meeting with a quote from each board member, like, I visited, fields,
Yeah.
elementary, and this went on.
We could add something to it.
Yeah, because the way I've seen it is exactly like, I don't know who mentioned it, but something like, I attended the Legacy softball game and it was great, congratulations to Legacy. And each board member just said a little bit of something just so people get a shout out.
yeah,
Everybody likes a shout out.
sure they do. They love it.
So I can add that if the board would like, start to do something like that.
Give a shout out to Mona for being here tonight.
Thanks, Mom.
Okay. Well, I think that really takes us through, unless there's another area here, let's see, developing our skills at providing strategic leadership. And you've got the list in front of you. So why don't you just look over that? Is there anything on the board self-assessment that you have? It's a one pager that you would like, it's this one right here that you, or I'm sorry, it's not a one pager. It's 2 pages.
I'm
But
pretty sure I completed this whole thing.
okay. Well, if there's a section that you wanted to talk a little bit about that we didn't, let me know and we'll go back to that data. I don't usually cover the whole thing, and I can definitely provide Dr. Ball like just an overall summary of your responses, and then if you want to compare it to next year, I can help you do that. I'm glad
This
to
was
do that,
good.
or Dr.
I
Ball can do
enjoyed it.
that.
I enjoyed this section that we did. It was good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Okay. Then I think we're going to transition now. I'm going to go back to the board operating procedures. Do y'all have that in front of you now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, do y'all want to take a break real quick or not? It's up to you. I'm
That's
fine.
what Daniel had just asked if we were going to take.
Okay, yeah, we can do that then.
I
This
told him
would be the perfect time to do it.
We have 2 of them breaking already.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second half here, we're going to spend some time talking about your board operating procedures. So we do have some feedback, which you can see on the monitors here, based on the people that were able to complete the survey. But if there is something you want to discuss, maybe you did complete it, but you just didn't check that page or something, just say something and we will definitely spend some time on it. So on page 1, it was the purpose and the board operating procedures agreement. It didn't say anybody wanted to talk about that. So are we okay moving on to page 2? All right. So, actually page 2, I take that back. On the board operating, there were 2 that wanted to talk about that. So you're gonna have to tell us what it was that you're wanting to revisit. And again, this is an opportunity to put something in writing that you're doing, but it's not in writing, or to maybe remove something because it says you're doing it, but you're not doing it, which that's okay. Just don't do, didn't have to be in the board operating procedures. Or maybe you have a new idea, something you want to add. So there were 2 people that said they wanted to talk a little bit about board operating procedures.
Is that in general, or do you mean page 2?
It's
Page 1.
it's page 1, and there are 2 people that indicated they wanted to speak on that.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. Because I want to make corrections.
Yes.
If there's any feedback or corrections, Moni and I will be taking notes, and then do these have to be approved by the board? So then.
At the next meeting,
at
you
the
would bring
next
them
meeting,
back.
I can bring them for approval.
Yep.
It's probably an accident.
Okay. So nobody has anything on board operating procedures?
The agreement, you
The only
mean?
thing I can think of is we don't technically do a full review annually.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we
Yeah.
review as a new procedures presented to us. But
What
maybe
bullet is that you're talking about?
The
Second
second-
paragraph on the second section.
Oh, reviewing
Says
the,
we'll review them once a year.
oh, the policy itself.
We
Okay.
want to keep it. It's just that we need to adhere to it.
Okay, we'll make sure we adhere to that. We'll do that once a year, review that.
Okay.
Not a problem.
But it's talking about the entire document, right?
And I think the problem is that it says this review should occur after the election for a new trustee. So we probably don't do it because we haven't had a new trustee in 3 years. I mean, that may be why we haven't.
Well, they're talking about this part.
And
This
it's
is
not
original.
defined as.
Should we put on there?
You might could just put after the election and take off new trustee.
Yeah. Yeah. This should occur after the election.
Period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of any new trustee.
Well, I think the trustee needs to get this in his hand too, so they could see or send email or something.
Get this document?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to share this. I don't think there's necessarily a right or a wrong, and it definitely will depend on what your local and legal say. But I know of boards that will choose to review the document right before a board election, with the thought being that these people know the process, they know how things are working, so they establish those procedures right before possibly a new person were to come on board, and then it gives that person a year, right, to learn and to see how things work, and then they would have input the following year. There's not a right or a wrong. That's totally up to the board, but just
I think that's better.
Yeah,
So
that
the-
sounds
This
really good.
review should occur before.
Now, the only thing is you might, Dr. Ball, look at local and legal to see, you might need to actually change it in policy if it's, I don't know what's written there.
Okay, but only if there's a new candidate running, right?
No.
Which
No.
is elected.
Oh, just,
We want to review the board policies before the election.
okay.
So
Once a year.
It's the standing board members.
So
that
do we
do
want to
the
say
review.
April?
And
do we
if
wanna
there is
say
a new member, they have a whole year to experience.
They'll receive the document when they get sworn in, right?
Do we want to be
Right.
specific though and say we want to review it in February, March, April, what?
whatever you like.
So you just had your elections in May. I would suggest April because March, you would review them. In April, you would adopt them if there are any changes. And then in May, the new person is elected and you would give it to them, right? March.
March review. April adopt.
And I've never seen that about the supermajority, but I like that.
I can do that.
Okay, so moving right along, the next section is candidate new board member orientation, but nobody wanted to discuss that. The next section is required board training, and there were 2 people. This is on page 2, Roman numeral 2. So if you want to look at that and see maybe what you wanted to revisit, a question, an idea.
Required board training is not required by any of us. It's required by the state.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can have our comments, but there's not a whole lot of change.
I think that one was, well, I know that one was me. Just to make sure that I'm current. For example, I just want to know,
More reminders?
right, what am I missing or what do I need? So I can be current like everybody else or just current period.
You mean like Mona when she sends us the reminders of what we need or what?
Right. So here I'm thinking I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'll miss something. Thinking, did I do it?
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta find it out first.
Maybe like compare the
That's probably prior to her sending you information that says what you have and how often you have to
Well, I
take it.
guess I'm speaking just
In general, right.
Making sure that we're in compliance.
Yeah, I think on the TASB, continuing education section, it tells us what's required and if we don't have it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, it's totally up to the board and, what you want to have in writing. But I will say, I don't think I've ever seen required board training in the board operating procedures listed out this way, other than possibly just saying that the expectation is that board members will obtain the required hours. And then what you could do is you could just put a link to the TASB website, and then anybody could go to that link and they could find the updated information. Because I will say, just after this last legislative session, there are new board trainings for board
A lot of
members
changes.
that you would have to go back and you would have to add to this. So you might want to just say, just go to the website, right? To see what's needed.
So you mean take out that whole required board training? Or we just say trustees are required to take all, or trustees will take all required board training?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And you could differentiate and just say there is a difference for returning board members and brand new board members. But rather than spell all of that out, maybe just link it in. It's also on the TEA website, Mona, whichever one you think would be easier to link to.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
Okay, on the next section is meetings. Now, there was only one person that said they wanted to talk about meetings, but it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's a lot of information in meetings, so.
I think that we should review that where it says under the B guidelines, the comments shall not exceed 5 minutes. I thought we had determined 3 minutes is what we would allow. Because 3 minutes is already enough time.
Okay, so y'all had changed that from 5 to 3 already?
Because we had gone back and forth at one time and then,
Yeah, we've been using,
Oh, it's always been 3.
yeah,
it should be 3.
so we haven't updated them.
Okay, 3.
I'll change that.
Okay, was that the only thing then on meetings? Okay, so communication is pages 5 through 7, and there were 2 people that said they wanted to comment on communication. So again, it's a pretty long one, so you're going to have to let us know which area you were wanting to talk about.
Going back to the meeting,
Oh, yeah?
is there, because I know it used to be a different posting requirement, now there's a new posting requirement. Is that in here at all?
No, because we just know that by law we have to follow that, so we didn't put it, but if we wanted.
No, I don't, I'm just curious if we have the old, like we used to be, what, 48 hours? We don't have that anywhere in here? Okay.
And I think that there's another thing that I'm remembering that we discussed sometime back, and that is when there's 2 or 3 people and they want to give their minutes to someone else, it's only 3 minutes per person, period.
Yeah.
We had discussed that.
Yeah, they can't pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, I don't know if we should have it on there because we always run into that where.
Or Sally wants to give her hours to Henry, you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Okay, anything else on meetings? I didn't mean to move forward so quickly.
I'll make that change on the 3.
Okay. So what about on communication?
I think when I click on this, I just meant in general, make sure.
Okay.
Communication is constant, always understanding there's no surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise agenda items, surprise this, we're kind of generally understand. Obviously, we always get the board pack when it gets sent out, so we understand what's going to be. It's all us to review it when it comes up, working on it. Just generally, just making sure you're maintaining good communication around with each other.
Mm-hmm. Is it just kind of a talking point like you just did, or do you want to actually add something in writing? No. Okay, yeah, good information.
I think doing those shout outs might help with me communicating with the community. Yeah, so.
We don't have to put shout out.
No, I won't.
You might put board members will have the opportunity at the end of the meetings or something. Right?
Yes, I'll have
But I usually we don't want to send it out to the community, writing, that's part of memos or newsletters.
You don't or you do?
You really send out.
Excuse me?
That's what y'all send out.
Yes, sir, we
I
send
don't
it out.
think so.
We,
I mean, that,
we do a recap of the meeting already.
yeah.
But in the recap, if you want me to put, Mr. Dawkins said, Mr. Sullivan said, Mr.
I don't,
Okay.
because then what, if I don't have anything to say, then it's,
Ms. Sullivan said, I mean,
you can call me that. But
Mr. Dawkins said nothing, sorry.
yeah, Mr. Dawkins had nothing positive to
Wasn't said all the time.
say.
And in north side, sometimes one board member will have like one line, and one board member will have,
Yeah.
you know, 3 paragraphs.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to rush you. Are you still looking at communication, or are you ready to move on? Okay, thank you. All right, so on page 7, we have school visits, and there were 2 people that indicated they'd like to talk about that. So there's just an A, a B, and a C. So you might look over that and see.
I think, I don't think we should put the expectation is that the superintendent, I think it should say the superintendent shall be provided with advance notice
Okay.
and take out the expectation is that.
Mm-hmm.
And also trustees will check in, not should.
Making sure we follow
Yeah.
the safety procedures of signing in at the front
Right.
desk.
Okay, I got the should will. Now tell me the other part, the expectation that the superintendent.
Cross out the,
So just
the
the
expectation is that.
the superintendent shall be provided with advance notice of every board member. visiting.
Most of it pretty good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it for school visits? All right. So page 7, complaints. All 5 of you who were able to complete the survey said you wanted to talk about that. So there's an A and a B there.
I thought that I agreed with the statement. I didn't want to talk about it. I just agreed that.
Yeah, I wasn't complaining. I mean, 'cause it's pretty simple.
I think it reads well.
Want to complain about it?
No, I think I checked it thinking it. I got confused from the other one saying, yes.
Okay.
We don't need that.
Okay, so we don't need to revisit complaints. On the confidentiality of materials, it starts on 7 and then there's an A and a B on 8. So any changes to A, that's about not sharing your packet. And then closed session. Based on your feedback and your board self-assessment, it doesn't seem like that's a problem. So maybe that was the same thing. Somebody was just,
I think so.
yeah. Nope. Okay, good. Okay, nobody wanted to talk about board travel, but I'm putting it out there because for those of you who maybe have thought of something new or weren't able to complete the survey, the creation of the board activity calendar. Nobody want to talk about that one? And then the board officers and terms. So if there are no takers on those 3, we're going to look on page 8 for the electioneering. 8 and 9. It does go over to page 9. Any questions about the electioneering or need any?
Pretty versed on
Okay. What about the action committees on page 9? One person indicated. Because you said you just re-implemented these, right, Dr. Ball, the action committees?
We started them back up maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think it's important that we keep that the board president shall appoint board members. We might get in a situation where everybody wants to be on one committee, and so you should have that.
Okay. So you like that? You don't want to change that? Okay. So there were two other pages. One is just the Board of Trustees norms, which is on page 10, that I did not include in that survey. So I just wanted to put that out there for everybody. Didn't know if anybody wanted to talk about any of those norms. I see that at the very bottom, I guess the second to last sentence says that you will set a time aside for an annual basis for self-evaluation. So
Do we want to set a time, do we want to set a month that we do that? That way Mona can remind us to do it. The part, we will set aside time on an annual basis for self-evaluation and to review our progress.
Well, we were supposed to create a document. We didn't get that far back then, but even now,
I mean, that's what we're doing right now,
yeah.
right?
So this could be your self-evaluation if you want it to be.
Yeah. Right, so again in April.
Does anybody have any questions on these norms which were created a long time ago by other? Because not everybody was involved. Some of the new members were not here. But does everything look okay to y'all?
I think so.
And do we want to do that self-evaluation as
Is it team meeting?
a part of our? There you go. Would that be a board training session or would that self-evaluation?
A self-evaluation.
Or could we do it as part of our meeting? I guess we couldn't do it in closed session.
No, you couldn't do it in closed session, but it is something that, so we've gone through it one time. Like, if you were to want to use this again, you wouldn't necessarily have to take,
Do it as a
this much
survey.
time to do it. You could, Dr. Ball could send it out. She could ask you to complete it within a period of time. She can tally the results, and then she can just share the document with you. Like, for example, if you wanted to replicate this process, what I can do is I can send her basically this document, but instead of having all of the ratings, almost always, often, sometimes, I would just put May 2026, and I would put your average in there all the way down, so you'd have that data. So then next year, you could do it, she could tally that information, and then you would put 2027, right? And then you could compare that data. Does that answer your question?
We would make it an agenda item.
If you approve, if you're going to end up, no, there's not an agenda item necessarily for
Thank you.
your board self-assessment.
Congratulations.
It's just information. I'm sorry.
So,
The board operating procedures, that would be an agenda item. And I would say my recommendation would be, even if you don't make any changes to your board operating procedures, I would readopt them still. I would still have an agenda item, because that shows that you've revisited it every year, right? And I'll also say that I think sometimes if you don't do that, then it kind of falls off your radar, and before you know it, it's been 4 or 5 years and you haven't done it, right? So if you have like a board calendar that kind of shows, this is when we have agenda items, and you always do it at that time of year, it's just more likely to get done. Yeah.
I just wonder if we should put April, because I really think it fits with the Team of 8 training.
Uh-huh.
So should we just put, like, when we do the Team of 8 training is when we do it?
That would be a good idea, because it
Yeah.
could be any time of the year. And April gets so busy that sometimes.
Remember you told me you really would like it in the fall?
Yes. We
Yeah.
used to do it in the fall all the time.
Team of 8 training. Yeah, I just, it doesn't, if we do get new board members, then they're gonna be lost on the first team of 8 training because they're brand new. So maybe we do it in the fall.
And one other thing I like to share with you, there's not a right or a wrong time. It's whenever it's good for you. But there is a train of thought that says the board self-assessment should come before your superintendent evaluation. Because what it does, it gets everyone in the mindset that you're a team of 8, right? Like if one evaluation looks really good and the other one doesn't, then there's a misalignment there because you've got to be supporting each other to really get the good work done and to see an improvement in student outcomes. So I don't know when your superintendent evaluation is. Is it January? So like you might think about doing it in November or December, you know. I mean, that's a thought. And the good news is this isn't policy, right? I mean, it's a living document. It serves as, you know, these are the expectations, but Lord forbid you get busy and don't do it the month it says to do it. Well, do it the next month, you know. Nobody's going to come and get you for that. Okay, and then you, on page 11 and 12, you have Robert's Rules of Order, so not sure there's anything you want to change in that, since those are really already established. And then there was just one other question on the survey that said, are there any other topics that you believe the board should consider adding to the board operating procedures? And 2 people responded, but both of them said no, so. All right. So with that, I think y'all have talked, you know, next steps. Is there anything that, you know, you want to change? And I know Dr. Ball and I think Muna also has been taking notes. So I'm guessing they'll kind of develop a new draft. They can send it to you. You can look at that. And then it sounds like it will probably be on next month's board agenda for you to adopt. Well, we're kind of out of order now because we moved it all around, but I can end with this quote. We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on our experience, right? And so that's a great example of why it's a good use of time. Your time is valuable, I know, but once a year, just to revisit your board operating procedures and to do a board self-assessment, because that's when you're really going to make some improvements, right? When you're reflecting on the work that you're doing. So any questions for me? All right, well, President Vasquez, I think I'm done. Dr. Ball?
Thank you for the 6 hours.
You're welcome. 6 hours.
We do appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much. Any other business?
No, sir.
Does anyone have any other business?
I'd just like to remind everybody that tomorrow is our employee banquet. So if anybody needs a reminder, remind. And I have everybody down for a +1. Except for yes.
I think I'm sorry. I'll be your +1, Jay.
Well, if you want to bring one.
Okay, we're good. 7:39.